What's up, guys? I'm starting today's video. Today we're going to couples therapy, aka asking my parents questions about their marriage and learning and taking in all the information for ourselves and our future relationships.
Wow, that was a great intro,
Thank you. No cats.
One take wonder right there.
I'm a little nervous about these.
Yeah, I'm ready. Are you ready to be grilled?
We're ready. So it's going to be our 20-year anniversary this year. So we're really excited. We don't know what we're doing yet. I feel like we should finally go to Hawaii as a family and like renew our vows with our kids walking and like cute flower
That would be
dresses.
freaking awesome.
That'd be so cute. But okay, go on to the questions. I guess Hallie's first.
All right.
Ariana and Melinda are still picking out their
Yeah.
questions. So if you see them looking at their phone, that is why.
How should you handle housework and other chores?
Like as a couple, like how, okay.
Yep.
That's a good one. You go first. I'm curious how you're going to answer this.
Okay, what I recommend doing as a couple is sit down and determine which things and chores you like to do and split them evenly. For instance, I love to cook. Crystal doesn't mind cleaning.
I don't mind doing the
I hate the
dishes
cleaning
and
part.
stuff, yeah.
So it works out perfect. I cook, she cleans, everybody's happy.
Though I will say sometimes, like, even if you have that arrangement, things might go sideways sometimes and
Who's
things
gonna
come
clean the
up.
bathroom? I know.
But it's about communicating through it and kind of splitting it, yeah, as evenly as you can.
I'll clean the bathroom.
Yeah,
I'll take
you
one
gotta
for the
keep that
team.
toilet seat down.
I
Keep that toilet seat
Yeah,
down.
put it down.
He does, actually.
You know,
Never been an
I
issue.
actually have something about that.
Okay.
Why do we need to put it down when you're just gonna lift it up next time you go? So you just leave it up and then you just sit right down.
No, you know what? We're talking about the second ring. Like when you stand up to pee.
You just
And
clean it
that
off
second
and
ring
you
is
can put
up.
it down.
Wait, no.
No.
Because if you get up in the middle of the night and you have to just like quickly
That's
go pee,
unfortunate.
you
If
don't
we're
want to
not-
fall in the toilet.
Listen, if we're not
That
paying
sucks.
attention,
You don't stand up,
we'll fall in.
Well, then pay
We'll
attention.
fall into
Then
it.
pay
We'll fall
attention.
in.
You seem like you're talking from experience.
You know what? Maybe I am. What's the best way to show appreciation to your spouse?
Ooh, this is a good one. Okay, I'll start off first. Figure out what their love language is and tailor it to that.
I knew you
You
were
took
gonna say
mine.
that.
Oh my gosh, because I used to do things. Okay, I'm gonna quick story. So I like shortly after we were married and stuff. I think I was like maybe I was 7-8 months pregnant at this point, and we had all of our wedding presents and all of the house was a total wreck. So Aaron was at work. I had nothing that day. I spent the entire day, and I wasn't allowed to like lift heavy things because I was pregnant. So I was like scooting things with my legs. Like I was so good, and I got the house sparkling clean. Aaron came home, and I was like, and he was like, looks good. And I was so devastated. I literally cried. I'm not even being dramatic. I cried. And I was like, what the heck? And I was like, Aaron, I spent all day cleaning this. Like, I need a better response than that. And he's like, I've seen it clean before.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, he was digging.
I did
Yes, you
not.
did. That's exactly
Whoa.
words of what
Your
you
own
said.
grave.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
How are
in
you
that
still
moment,
We're gonna change this question
how are
for
you
if you had a time
How are
machine.
you alive,
I'd go
dude?
back and change. I would go back. and
Wait.
slap young Aaron.
That's one of my questions. You can't
oh wait,
Sorry.
he's not there yet.
Sorry.
So, anyways, but I quickly realized that Aaron's love language is not acts of deeds of service. I think it's
Acts of
called
service.
acts of service. One of those things. It is words of affirmation. So. Yeah, we quickly learned that, but now he would respond a lot better now. He learned over the years. Okay, what was your answer?
No, you got it. I'm not gonna dig that hole again. Okay.
Next question.
What boundaries should a couple set for their marriage?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I mean, I think this is independent to each couple because each couple is gonna have
Different boundaries.
different stuff that affects them differently.
One of my boundaries is he's not allowed to like hold my leg and tickle my feet. Like that's a hard boundary for me. Like don't that you know that's a boundary. You know it. Stop. That's a hard boundary for me. I don't like my feet
Can I just
tickled.
ask why?
What?
Can I just ask why?
Because I don't like my feet tickled, and then I don't like you holding my leg to tickle. Like it's literally a
Fair
no.
enough.
It's a boundary for me. So
Just cross that boundary, Dad.
But here's the
Bud.
funny and interesting thing. I didn't learn about that boundary till less than a year ago. And we've
Because
been married
it-
20 years, so.
You've never held my leg and tried to take it before, so
it's a
sometimes
new
boundaries
boundary?
come later. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
I think the proper answer to this question is you need to sit down as a couple and you need to discuss what boundaries you would like to see. And sooner rather than later, because if yes, sometimes boundaries won't come into play like this boundary didn't come into play for a very long time, but at the same time, it could be.
And you do need to set like your really
Relationship
extreme boundaries up front and know it before you get too deep in the relationship and it becomes a problem. Like one of my things up front is like obviously any kind of abuse, physical or mental, is not okay with me. And I was like, first time, like I'm out, like kind of thing. Obviously cheating.
This was not my list, but are there any emotional boundaries that you guys have?
Ooh. So I struggled with yelling because it's a trigger from my past or my childhood. And so emotionally, like I don't like when he raises his voice to me. But I know like obviously it's happened over the years. It's something that happens, but I know it's one of my boundaries. But we've had to work through that. And he doesn't yell at me now. Every once in a while.
Have I really ever yelled at you?
Every once in a while. But what about you? Like emotional boundaries?
No, one's not coming to me right this second, but
Yeah.
if you think of one, let me know. But
I think the other thing is not downplaying each other's feelings. I think we've both learned that over the years. Like we wouldn't have said like we put that boundary up front, but I think over the years, like when he's upset about something and I'm like, oh, it's not a big deal, or vice versa, and it's downplaying your feelings about something, I think that's something that you need to communicate to your partner about and let them know like how that's making you feel, and hopefully they understand that.
I will say one of my emotional boundaries is when you're arguing, you have to keep it nice. You can't go for low blows or digs or anything like that because, yes, you might be angry in the moment, but if you really want that relationship to last, if you start digging and you dig too hard or too deep, you're going to irreparably change your relationship.
One thing he's been doing recently that's driving me a little bit crazy. We're just laying it all out. It's couple therapy, guys.
Oh, no.
It's couple therapy time. But I know that it's actually a good thing. Is when we've gotten upset about a situation recently, he will walk away from the situation. And I'm finally at a point where like I can talk openly about stuff because I used to shut down and
Yeah,
not
I was gonna
talk about
say, you
things.
used to be the type of person when you were like, okay, just give me 5 minutes, I need to walk away before like I say something. But now that he's doing it.
And I've always taught the kids,
Yeah.
like, hey, I need to cool down, or you go cool down, and we'll talk about it. Because I do think it's better to talk about something when you are cooled down. But lately, I'm just like, let's just talk this out. Let's just get it all out. And he keeps walking away, and then we do talk about it when we're calm, so I guess it does work out. But it's driving me a little. Okay, moving on.
How do you keep going during hard times?
Ooh, that is a good
I think a lot of
question.
us need to hear this one.
Oh.
I think a lot of keeping going through the hard times, it really is individual. You have to know in yourself that what you want is to be with that person. In the end, you have to understand what you're willing to take and what you're not willing to take. And you have to be ready to set those limits, but enforce those limits. You can say in your mind all you want. You don't want somebody to do this or that in a relationship. But if you're not willing to hold their feet to the fire to make sure that that doesn't happen, then you're doing yourself a disservice.
This is a hard one to answer because I think when you're going through a hard time, it's easy to walk away from a situation, or it's easy to turn to somebody else for like emotional support. That is one thing I would say, like in particular, like if you're married and committed and like you're gonna be together forever, keep your relationship between you two. And if you have a problem, go to them and talk about it. It's okay, obviously to get advice or different things from other people, but at the end of the day, keep it between each other, because I feel like it makes the hard times a lot worse if there's so many different people involved in your relationship and has their opinion and all of that on what you should and shouldn't do, because I think you in your heart know what's right for you. And then I would definitely say, what else has gotten us through the hard times?
Communication. It's the number one thing. Why we had hard times was because of lack of communication. So if you're not, I think if you're not always continually working, even though you think you have good communication, I think there's always something that could be communicated better. So always looking to improve that communication no matter what. Yes. It could be a class that you go to, it could be a book that you read, it could be...
One other quick thing, and I don't know if it goes along with this question or if you guys have one of these questions, but be careful on who you are in the relationship. And what I mean by that is a lot of people go into relationships and like, especially if you've had a hard time in your past or you're struggling with your self-worth, you go into a relationship trying to change the other person. And you have this idea of what makes a great partner and what you're looking for in a partner, and then you try to make them become that relationship is going to really, really struggle. And I think on the other end, there's relationships where you step back and you don't communicate and you just take in whatever they're doing, whether you like it or not. And you become passive in the relationship, which I also think will lead to a really hard relationship. The best relationships that I've seen or that we've experienced is ones that are supportive. And what I mean by that is I let Aaron be him, and I support and I love him, and I'm here for him, but he is his own person. I don't try to change who he is. I don't try to make it different, that kind of thing. I really love and support him for everything he is, and vice versa. It's one of the things that I've loved about Aaron, and I think why we've lasted so long, is I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to go do this tomorrow. And he's like, cool, let me know how that works out for you. Even if he knows it's not going to work out. He's like, he just loves and supports me through all the business ideas that I've had. I've had like crazy ones. I've done everything from like making my own makeup and going to the mall and selling it. Like all these different things. And he's always been like, cool, like, you know, that's your path in life. And he's just by my side for it. And he doesn't try to change me or who I am. So best relationships are to just support each other's individuality.
What do you do when you're going through a period where you don't feel loved? Or you don't feel that loving?
So loved or loving?
Well, the question says loving. But I don't know if that was like a typo or something.
Well, I think there is two different things. So I think there are times, especially certain times of the months for girls, that we don't feel very loving towards your partner.
What? Period? Is that what you're
saying? Period.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. Okay. When you're on your period, sometimes your hormones are, and you're not feeling very loving. And I noticed, like, during those times, Aaron will get a little more clingy to me. And I'm like, you're just doing it because, like, you know, when you want what you can't have. And, like, when I am loving, you're like, oh, good. And then vice versa. So sometimes it's just communicating that and understanding each other. And I think it's something you learn over time. Wait, what would you say? What when you're not feeling loving?
Like maybe you have something going on with you and you're like, I can't do this with you right now, or like I can't show you love right this second, because it's like,
this is probably gonna sound weird, but I have a list of movies for when I'm feeling certain ways and I need to change how I'm feeling. I can sit down and watch these movies and it'll help me to like switch how I'm thinking.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know
No,
that.
I can't share my list.
It's like a music playlist, but it's a movie
kind
playlist.
of a music playlist,
Wow.
but it's a movie playlist, and
It's just a bunch of rom-coms.
some of them are. Sure.
I think that's cool. That's what, yeah. And I think the other thing is being understanding of where each other are at. And if they're not in that, don't take it offensively. Like it's anything you did, they just might be going through a hard time.
I think the biggest thing that we learned in our relationship is you have to give the benefit of the doubt. Everybody goes through their own thing, and so if you're a partner whose partner is not feeling very loving right now, you have to stop and recognize there may be a reason for that, and just give them some space if that's what they need, or I don't know. There's something that person needs from you, and if you can try to be that for them in that moment, I think they will come out of it quicker. But B, the love and support in that relationship will conquer all.
What's your number one piece of advice for a successful marriage?
Happy spouse, happy house.
I like that. I like that it's happy spouse, happy house.
I do think
I
there's
think it goes
something to
both
that.
ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think communication, like, that's really all I could say is communicate. Even when you think you're not communicating, communicate more.
Our hardest times as a couple has been when we weren't communicating.
But also, I feel like if you communicate too much, do you think that could like not make it?
Is there any over communicating?
I think there is.
You think there is? I
Yeah.
don't think there is. I mean, unless you feel like
I have
smothered.
I
Like,
have
are
a
you talking about
feeling
that?
if you get to the over communication point, there may be something else going on in your relationship that needs to be addressed.
Okay, but I'm saying like not just communicating about like the good and bad things, but like when you say communicate, like I'm saying like if you communicate all the time and just base it off that, like
Okay, wait. I kind of understand what you're saying. So I was in, before I met Dad, I was in certain relationships where I got really bored, and I do feel like there was over communication where it was just like, and then I didn't really know what to talk about at some point.
yeah.
I will tell you, I've never felt like that with Dad.
Okay.
I feel
That's
like
what
when
I
you
meant.
meet the right person,
Aw.
you won't feel like there is over communicating.
That's what I
But
meant.
I
Like,
do agree that the
because
relationships will feel like that.
because I get bored very easily.
I feel ya. I get
And so
it.
it's just like, and I feel like if you run out of things to talk about, then it's just like,
And it's like,
If you're
yeah.
running out of things to talk about, then I think there's something else wrong with your relationship.
I think that you've
think
there's-
you've maybe scraped everything that you can on the surface. I think
Yes.
maybe you have to have deeper conversations.
You might have some walls up that you're not willing to go past, and that's
Cause you might know their favorite
Deeper.
color, where they
go
live,
deeper.
their
Ariana.
favorite
I don't
food,
like deep
whatever.
conversations though.
What? You're gonna
You
have to have deep
You can't have a
conversation.
successful relationship without a deep conversation.
I agree.
Because I'm the type of person, I'm not gonna open up until I actually know it's the right person. Because I don't want every
Everyone
guy I
knows
talk to like.
business.
The hard part is you might not know if that is the right guy until you open those doors.
Yeah,
or those
but I'll
pathways.
get a good feeling and I'll feel like safe and secure to where I can open up, and I haven't felt like that, so that's why I don't.
I agree.
I can see that.
I agree. You're right.
I can
when
see that.
You'll know when you feel that way, and that's all. Like you'll just feel that. You'll feel it, and you'll open up, and it'll be the right person.
But if that continues for a while, then it might be something else. Because if it's like every single relationship, and you keep just like getting bored of the person, like relationships get boring sometimes.
I actually
Like,
don't agree
they
with
do.
that.
You don't agree with that?
When you're in the right relationship, the one, it doesn't get boring ever,
Oh.
Have you gotten bored, Hallie?
and that might be.
You can't ask that.
Yeah, I'm not the one giving it.
No, I do understand what you're saying though. There are points that you're kind of like, okay, like what's next in our relationship, and it can feel like you're at a point where not bored, but like stuck a little bit. Like okay, but then I feel like it's the conversations and all of that, and as you experience different things in life and grow together, then that dynamic will change. So I think when Dad says like it doesn't ever get bored, it's because over time we've developed together or like grown together. But I do feel like in the beginning there's that part where you're trying to communicate and figure out who you are and all of that. Yeah. Okay.
That's the end of my questions.
Oh, okay.
Thank
Who's
you,
next?
Monica.
So my first question is, what did your family think of each other? I've always really wanted to know this.
I know that answer.
Just kidding. Well, like I know a little bit of the answer, but like I want you to go more.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. This is an interesting one. Okay, so she basically asked, what did our families think about each other? I don't think his mom liked me. I think we really struggled. Do you think she liked me?
That's a no.
I guess I don't even know the answer. Okay, here's the thing.
At first.
At first, actually, I think she liked me for a little bit. But then when I got pregnant, she did not feel that we would be good parents, and she didn't like me at that point.
That's fair.
Because
Is that fair? Would that be accurate?
I honestly don't know if she liked you or didn't like you. And I guess I guess this is
I don't think he cared.
yeah, that's an interesting thing. I didn't care.
See, and
You should always care what you're doing.
See, and I feel like that's what you guys do differently as like parents rather than what your parents did. If you don't like who we're dating, you will tell us.
I am
You
very
will try to tell us in the nicest way possible.
forward about it.
But you will tell us.
I will. I just feel like if I can see, sometimes when you're in a relationship, you can't really see red flags because you're so into it, and maybe an outside perspective that love and all of that loves you can see things that you can't. But at the same time, I do love and support whatever you guys decide, even if I don't agree sometimes.
Sometimes red flags are tricky to see.
They are.
Okay, this question is just for the kids really fast. Have you guys ever brought someone over to meet mom and dad and you're just so excited for the day to be over so you can come back and see how see what they thought? Am I the
See your
only one?
opinion on it?
Am I the only one? Because I was like that.
I felt
Yeah.
like I was that. I was like, oh, how was that handshake? with
Yeah,
so-and-so?
Tell me, like, what did you think? Was it dead fish hands?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's a player.
I'm sorry, Hallie had a boyfriend one time that I just got the worst feeling, and the handshake was bad.
You
And I
only
was
dated
like,
for a week.
I'm sorry, it's not it, Hallie. She's like, yeah, I know. I know.
I was just having fun.
Or have you guys ever told your boyfriend or girlfriend hey give my parents a really good handshake? 'Cause
I've done that.
I'm like, mom knows about the handshake.
The funny thing is, you
Yeah, me
can
too.
tell from a handshake when they're overcompensating. So you're doing.
We
a
can still
disservice.
tell when you told them.
Just a little bit of disservice.
My mom and dad can really tell a lot about handshakes, so you better make sure that handshake is really good.
You know, every time after that one time, I was like, listen, you're being graded.
You're being graded on your handshake.
Yeah.
You have to have a good handshake when you meet parents, you know? And then back to the question. My mom, she didn't have anything against Aaron. She was like, he seems like a great guy, he seems good. But my mom was very upfront with me that she was like, if you date him, you're gonna end up pregnant and married at a young age. She straight out said that to me, and I was like, that's not true, Mom. But of course my mom was right, as they always are. And yes, I ended up married and pregnant at a young age. So
You gotta tell me that.
but I have to say, I do want to say at the same time, my mom always liked who he was as a person and really loved him. And as soon as she found out that we were going to get married and that whole thing, she literally gave him the keys to my car. And she's like, she's your problem now. Because I was kind of a high maintenance teenager, I'm not going to lie.
She would lock her keys in her car
I always
while
was
running.
locking it. My keys in my car. Always.
While running.
The car was on and you locked
Car was
it.
running, and she
Lock
would
the
somehow
keys.
lock the keys in the car while it's running.
I had.
So you'd get a call.
I
Well,
have-
most cars have
I-
a protection in them now that they
And
don't
I was like,
allow.
cars are those push buttons.
But-
Back then, we had to turn the key, and then I would get distracted.
But if the
and
car's on, didn't
Yeah.
you need his...
Don't you need the key to lock the car?
yeah, I would leave the keys in it,
Car-
and I would just.
But how would the car?
Back
Oh,
in the-
because
back
you
in
had to hit the
olden
little
days, we'd
button.
hit the lock thing.
There's a little lock
Yeah.
thing in your door that you would hit as you were walking
Okay,
out. There
yes, I
wasn't
know.
turn on and off.
Oh
with
yeah,
the
I know the
remote.
whole thing. You switch
Yeah.
it. Okay.
So we would just hit that and walk, and then I would always, and my mom would have to drive and come unlock my car for me. So she was like, "Your problem now, buddy." Good luck. I don't know, but she always liked you.
How should a couple handle conflict with parenting styles?
Ooh, when it comes to parenting. So Aaron and I had very different parenting styles up front, and that's one thing we didn't talk about early and communicate. And we did struggle in that area. I feel like we
Absolutely.
really struggled. And it wasn't until Max was probably 2 or 3, going through that terrible 2 stage, and he was very destructive. And he would randomly scream in the middle of nowhere. We would be sitting in church, and he's like, "Ah!" and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" You know what I mean? Max just walked in
Speaking of
there.
that,
I'm talking about you as a child.
We're gossiping about
But
Breaking fans. I just
Aaron and I had very different styles on trying to correct that behavior and trying to figure that out. And then we heard this one lady get up and talk about parenting, and she was offering parenting classes, and we went together. And that's really when we started having those conversations on how do we want to raise our kids. Thankfully, we came to a compromise and understanding. But I do still think to this day, sometimes we have differences in how we want to handle situations.
I encourage you that if you are having a relationship going for long term, right around date 10, go to a parenting class together.
Yes, have those conversations.
And if you can't make it through that and still like each other, then it probably wasn't meant to be.
How'd you end up getting him to stop?
That's a good question.
Getting into
because,
what?
To stop screaming.
To stop yelling?
Yeah, how'd you do it?
How'd I get
That one
Dad
he-
to stop yelling? Or
No,
no, Max?
Max,
Oh, how'd I get Max? I think he just grew out of it. I don't think it's anything we did as a parent. I do think Max just went through a phase where he wanted to scream, you know?
Fair enough.
It wasn't even like anything was wrong. He would just scream. And then he would go back to being happy. And I'm like, I'm confused on the parenting on this one.
Children also have really poor impulse control.
His
So they just go
impulse.
and they just do
Right.
it.
Right.
They don't think like, is this gonna have consequences? They just do it.
They just do it.
Give us a scream.
He
For
went
the
up
one
in
time.
church one time and screamed in the microphone and ran. And I was
way.
like, that, whose kid was that?
Who wears the pants in the relationship?
Mom.
Wait,
Yes.
no,
Yes.
no.
Yes.
answer for
Yes. Here's the reason why.
Answer.
Anytime you ask Dad something, he says, "Go ask your mother." Mom is the final decision.
Okay,
Everything.
but
I'm about to blow all their minds.
I know, but
Are you re-
listen.
Are you
Because
ready?
listen.
Are you ready?
Anytime.
Because
I'm
listen,
ready
whenever
to-
mom's out of town, when I lived at home, Kate, and mom, whenever mom was gone or like out of town, and I'm like, hey Dad, can I do this? I want to say mom, where's that? But I feel like it's like in the middle thing, because Dad would be like, I mean your mom would say this, but yeah, sure, go do it. Dad wears the pants too, though. It's like a more.
She's got one leg.
okay,
she's
wait,
got the
I'm
other.
curious.
We're back.
Okay, I'm curious how you would answer this question.
Okay, this is gonna surprise them all. Watch. Okay, so the trick is, I think both parents in a relationship actually wear the pants, but in order to make things happy and successful in this relationship, it's been easiest to make everybody think that Crystal wears the pants,
What?
but she doesn't actually. So
I like that. Yeah. No, I get you.
Just-
I
I like
understand.
that was coming because
I understand.
Wow.
Mom would do anything for Dad.
No, I really do feel like it's 50-50. I feel like there's stuff that you're very passionate about and you like it your way, and then there's stuff that I'm very passionate about, and I feel like I let him do his stuff, he lets me do my stuff. I'm not that we need to let each other do the stuff, it's just we've accepted each other in those ways.
There was, when we first got together, I was working.
And I was
Crystal
a
didn't
stay-at-home
always
mom.
work. She was
Yeah.
a stay-at-home mom. And so as our relationship has progressed over the years, when she was at home, being the stay-at-home mom, she was in a lot of ways wearing the pants based on whatever situations.
But the
See,
pants
that's
just
fair.
when it comes to like parenting wise, because
Yeah.
I was the one around or with the kids all the time.
And I will say,
And then
and
vice
I'm going to give her
versa.
credit, Crystal is way better financially than I am. If it was up to me and I ran her finances, then I would have
I do run the finance.
a long time ago. So yeah,
We're gonna end this. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Those were really good
They
questions.
were. And I feel
They
like
were
yours
good
is
questions.
good
They were
answers.
good.
Good
This was
advice.
intense.
Your stories are always fun.
we made it.
We made it through.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Love you guys. Bye.
Okay, and then World of Warcraft came into play. World of
We
Warcraft
don't talk about
almost
that.
ended our marriage. Like,
We don't
no,
talk.
like, I will say, like, I think when it had come out and it was really addictive too, I want to say it was like one of the years, like the third most reason why couples got divorced.
Was